Hey guys, nice to see you. Awesome. So let's get settled down. The point of today is kind of to introduce you guys into sales, show you guys how you can transition from obviously doing rentals, which is amazing, it's the bread and butter, and take you guys to the next level where you can also build up your dreams, make a lot of money, big commissions, and leverage your business. So I'm David Avgi. I've been in real estate. Let's go to the next slide and let's do the intro. So my story. I started off in real estate as a renter's agent. I started off very young, 12 years ago, and it was very tough for me until I got into it and got the ball rolling. It took me a long time. And then at a certain point, I said, hey, I've been in the office for 6 years now. I've been traveling from office to office to office. I haven't really been making a lot of money. I had to work multiple jobs in order to kind of secure myself and kind of put myself in a place where I'm like, all right, I'm paying the bills, I'm going day to day, but nothing really amazing is coming out of it. I don't feel myself leveraging. The only thing that I was leveraging was going from a small office to a bigger name office, thinking that that's what's going to get me ahead. And it wasn't really. I worked in the Douglas Ellimans, I worked in the Keller Williams, I worked everywhere. And I worked in the GZB when GZB first started. And the funny thing is like at a certain point, I realized that I'm doing it all wrong. That the point to get ahead in life, and if you really want to get into real estate, you're going to have to literally add knowledge, because knowledge is power, and the more that you have, the better you can get ahead. The problem with the brokerage community, and especially the corporate firms, hence why Itai and I and Ophir, we sat down, and when we were thinking about doing the merger and everything else, it was like, I hate corporations and I hate the corporate firms. It's great to have a little bit of corp behind you, but at the same time, you need a family environment. Walking into an office and no one's talking to anyone and everyone's kind of like, I'm not giving you information because you're going to steal my business and you're going to steal my business, is the wrong mindset, because at the end of the day, there's so much business going around. There's so much money to make, and there's so much apartments to sell and so much different buyers and sellers out there. So at the end of the day, teaching each other and being there with each other and creating like a family community where you can help leverage each other, that was the goal. So now, at a certain point, I started working with a developer, and he started me off as kind of like, I needed money. And working as a broker was tough for me to get money. So I met this developer, helped him out with his social media, offered me a job. I started learning about condo books. I started learning about tax abatement. I started learning about a lot of things. Within 6 months, I started managing the development firm. At a certain point, we had over, I think it was $500 million in new development in the pipeline. We were one of the biggest developers in Brooklyn, and it got to a point where it's like, okay, how can we take this to the next level? What I did is, I said, I need to gather a lot more knowledge. I'm gathering a lot of knowledge. I know how to build buildings. I know the construction side. I know Department of Buildings, Department of Finance. Now, how can I know more about the brokerage side, actually selling the apartments and marketing? So I hired on people like Ryan Serhant, I hired on people like Alex Maroney, and a lot of big agents out there to kind of co-list buildings with me and help teach me also their ways, and also kind of feel my way through it and find my own special little, I guess you can say, personality in this game. And over time, I got to a place where I started doing really well, and I ended up selling hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate. I became a developer myself, and last year I sold over 150 million, and it just keeps escalating. And this year, I think with the Brooklyn office, my goal is just with my team, not even with the office, to sell over $200 million in real estate, and we're growing that pipeline, and I want the office to be at 300 million in real estate sales this year. So let's go to the next slide, or we can first get into what is sales. Sales is pretty much, you guys have to understand, it's an emotional process. A lot of people get scared, right? For me, in the beginning, going out with a sales client or dealing with a developer became like, I was shaking. I would go to the meeting, I was shaking. I was like, oh my God, how am I getting this deal done? But at a certain point, you have to understand, these buyers are as emotional as you as a broker. Getting into uncharted territories, like uncharted waters, is going to be scary and nervous for anyone. The thing is that these buyers, they want a home and they're looking for their home. So they're emotional about, how can I find my home? How can I get there? How can I make sure that I'm investing the right amount? So you have to understand, it's all psychology. The way they're feeling you have to kind of work with them and show them that you're there for them. And the process of sales is either to represent someone to find their dream home that they want to live in, or to represent an investor that wants to actually make money on a property, or take them to a level where it's going with sellers that they just want to sell for a profit and get the deals done quickly. Now, the process of sales actually goes down into a few things. So let's go into the buyers and sellers slide, and let's kind of get into it. So the process of sale, you need to qualify your buyers if you're working with buyers, and that is the most important thing of it all. If you're not going to qualify your buyers, then you're not going to know, you're going to waste your time, which time is money because you can close other deals, and B, you're not going to know really what the buyer can afford or what they want. So the thing is, off the bat, you want to qualify your buyers, you want to know what they're approved for, you want to know how much mortgage they can get, and you want to know exactly what they want. But you also have to set expectations. A lot of people, and you guys are in the rental game, they come to you, they're like, hey, I want a penthouse in here, and my budget's $3,000. Find me it. And it's like, come on, brother. Like, you're not getting a penthouse for that. Those apartments go for $10,000. If you want something for $3,000, this is what I can get you, the best of the best. But otherwise than that, it's either increase your budget or lower your expectation. Same thing with sales. Everyone has higher expectations. They always want the world, and you kind of got to guide them. Now, the cool thing is, when it comes to sales, a lot of these buyers, when they're ready to go, they're a lot more knowledgeable. So it's an emotional situation, but sometimes closing sales deals, for me, has become easier than closing a rental client, which doesn't know, hands up in the air, working with 10 other agents, running around, seeing a million apartments, and like, I don't know, maybe I'll extend my lease. So like with sales, it's like they really want to make the move. So now you have the option to actually make it with them. Okay. So there's two sides to actual doing sales. There's the buyer side and there's the selling side. Now, into representing buyers, you have to know a few things. A, qualify your buyers. That means you need mortgage brokers. So what I would suggest to anyone that wants to get into sales, start making contacts. Go to Wells Fargo, go to Citi, go to anyone that's actually issuing mortgages, even untraditional mortgages. And you can even go to hard money lenders if you guys want to work with actual investors, because knowledge is power, and if you can guide your buyers, then you'll get more deals done, right? So qualify your buyers, know what they're qualified for, go meet a few mortgage brokers. On top of that, go meet a few attorneys, because your buyers are going to need attorneys to represent them on the closings. If your buyer is brand new to the market, which a lot of people are within the, I would say $300,000 to the $1 million range, you're getting a lot of first-time home buyers, which they don't really understand what's the process of the sale. So now you don't cost them any money, so you got to let them know, I'm not getting paid by you guys. I'm getting paid by the actual seller. The thing is, why you should hire me and why I should be your exclusive agent is because I'm going to guide you through the process, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to get you the perfect home for the perfect price, and we're going to execute it, and it's going to run smooth. So no attorneys, because attorneys need to represent your buyers. You want to get a few of them, and you always want to give them, obviously, the expectation that it's going to get done. After that, a few things that you got to know. There's things, when you actually take buyers into an apartment, you want them to work with you for the rest of your life. You want their family, you want their sister, you want Joanne from across the street that comes for dinner to be like, hey, Maria, I want you, and I want you to get this deal done. Now, the way to do that is by actually building a reputation with them, not just getting the deal closed and running away with your commission, but building up that relationship for the long run. Because in the future, referrals is how you make a lot of money. It's all about, in real estate, building up that wave in the beginning where things are super tough, and it's called grind mode, right? You're grinding to build up all those connections, all those referrals, and you want to get to a place where it's like, okay, let the wave kind of crash down and let all the money start coming in and the referrals and easier deals to get done. Now, you want to make sure that your buyers are getting inspections. Now, this is something you should offer your buyers, but if your buyer doesn't want to do it, it's completely fine. At least you put it out there. Now, if you don't offer it to your buyers, then you can get into tricky situations. Because in a lot of resales or new developments, there might be things such as the plumbing, such as the construction, or the floors, or something that's not 100% correct. And that can cause leaks or issues for the buyers in the future. Now, if you're not going to get all of the inspection done, then you're not going to really know what the problem is. So they might move in, they already bought it, and guess what? Now they're having issues with their apartment. And who are they going to blame for the issues?
Us.
Of course, because we're always to blame when the deal isn't selling, when the price is overpriced, we're the problem. So you have to understand that. We're always the first people to scapegoat and get blamed on. So with that, that's why you want to offer them everything. So get inspections done, and also let them understand what's the importance of the inspection. A lot of buyers don't want to spend a lot of money up front that they're not 100% buying the property. Inspections can range from $500 to $1,000 depending on the apartment, but it's worth the investment knowing that you're putting up your money that you saved hard for and that you're not going to have issues with your apartment. So definitely suggest that. Now, the next stage, you're going to have to get an appraisal done. So also, this comes by being very smart in your field. When you're doing research for your buyers, you want to know the exact neighborhood, you want to know the comps, you want to know what things are getting done for. If your client really likes an apartment and it's way overpriced and they end up getting a mortgage and they have only that specific down payment and the appraisal comes in and says, hey, we know you're in contract for $550,000, but this apartment isn't worth more than $500,000, and we're not willing to finance that. So literally, the buyer needs to come out of his pocket with an extra $50,000 in order to even get the deal done, or take untraditional type of loan from hard money lenders where it can cost them a lot of money. Now, that's where you come into play. You don't want to get into that place where things are, you already got the deal in, they're emotionally invested, they're ready to move in, they're picturing their home, and then they're like, fuck, I can't get it. So you got to manage their expectations, you got to know the market, and you got to do your research. Because you're free to work with and you don't cost them anything, doesn't mean you don't need to be a professional. You always have to be a professional in your field. Now, my favorite side, which is the seller side. When you're going to work with developers and you're going to work with, I guess you could say, the dream for everyone is to get exclusive buildings, work with developers, and actually leverage your business to different levels, right? Because instead of actually selling one apartment and you don't have the exclusivity, now you're selling buildings out and you have an exclusive. So the cool thing is, when you're working with sellers, it doesn't matter who's going to buy the apartment. It doesn't matter what buyers are coming in. As long as a buyer comes in, you're getting paid. Now, you need to know your market. Sellers are very smart. You can't go ahead and bullshit developers. A lot of times, you have agents that go to developers and they're like, I want this listing. Now the apartment's worth $1 million. I can get you 1.2. They just want the listing, right? It's kind of like in the rental game, bait and switch. Like you put something amazing on the market, which you're not supposed to do, and then it's like, oh, let me try finding you something that resembles this somewhat. You're not supposed to do that. Same thing with the sellers. If a seller is naive and actually gives you that listing for 1.2, guess what? You lost time, you lost money, you put it on the market, and you actually lowered your name. Because now they don't have trust in you. You were on the market for 6 months, not one offer, barely anyone comes to the open house, and now you're kind of like, well, maybe we should do a price drop. And he's like, wait, but you promised me 1.2. Why do I have to drop it $200,000 to satisfy it? So you have to know your market. It's all about knowing the comps, knowing the area, and making sure the pricing is correctly. Now, a lot of things that go into actually representing developers as well is you have to offer staging, floor plans, professional photography, and it really depends on the sale. Now, that can be a big investment. So you got to make sure that as much as sellers need you, and as much as you need them and you're chasing them, they need you too. And you're gonna have some skin in the game. So if you're gonna have skin in the game, you better make sure you're selling the property so you don't take a loss, right? So in order to have skin in the game, you wanna make sure the pricing is correctly, you wanna make sure the building is completely finished, or that it's up to par, or that you have a model unit that you can actually take people and guide them through it. If you don't have that, then you're never gonna get a deal done and the money's gonna go out the window. After that, make sure you're available. I can't stress this enough. I don't know why agents in this field, they have this ego complex where I'm an agent and you have to send me an email to get to an appointment and you have to do this and send me this and do that and I don't know, call my secretary and call. Shut the fuck up, get the deal done. Like, I'm being serious with you guys. Like, in the end of the day, it's you want to make yourself available. You want to be there for people. You want to make sure that anytime someone wants to see it, you're there to show it to them. You don't want to lose the opportunity of actually getting a sale done. Because remember this, you have an exclusive building, you're on euphoria, you're on a high, you're feeling amazing. It's like, I have the building, it's mine. But there's a timeline on it. You might have a 2-month, 3-month, 6-month, 1-year exclusive right. After that, it's out the window and so are you, and someone else is getting the building. So at the same time, you want to make sure that you're always available. Anyone that wants to see it at any time, you're there to show it. Because buyers are emotional. And if buyers are seeing multiple things, think about it, right? It's a lot of white walls. And if I'm a buyer and I'm going to a market, I want an apartment, $1 million apartment. I'm going to the market. I saw 10 things on the market. I really like 3 things. I really have to move out because my son is going to school in the next couple of months, and I need to move in. I need to get into the school district and so forth. It's like I need to make an offer right now. I need to start closing. And the thing is, when they see so much walls, they choose the couple that they like, and then they start throwing in offers. Now, if you're not making yourself available or finding ways to even, hey, take 10%. Can you go show? If the deal closes, I'll give you 10%. If you're not there, find unique and creative ways to actually get people out there. Making a little less money is better than making no money. And that's what people have a problem with as well. It's ego and it's greed. The second you eliminate ego and greed, developers, sellers, buyers, everyone will love working with you. You don't need it in this business. It's only going to kill you and corrupt you. Okay. So now, know your competition. You want to know everything else on the market. You want to know exactly what competition you have. And you want to know what's your competitive advantage. Also, you want to know the shit and bad things about the apartment. If the floors aren't so good, if the walls aren't so good, you can only hide it for so long. But when buyers come and look at it and walk through it and inspect it, they're like, oh, this bedroom is like 9 by 8. So a trick to do is maybe virtually stage it. Or maybe let them know from the beginning, the bedroom is small, but in the future you can blow out this wall and build it even bigger. We understand that but the price per square foot is so good that it's worth buying this because it will rise in an investment. You have to find creative ways to find all the negative things and make it a positive. In real estate, it's called objections. And wherever you go, if it's with sellers or if it's with buyers, you're always going to have objections. You want to know how to answer those objections so you can get the deals done. And then you want to guide your seller and client. You want to hold their hands, because even developers, as knowledgeable as they are and as amazing as they are and as much money as they have, they are scared and they are emotional at the same time. A lot of times they don't understand the market. They don't understand the finishes that people want. They emotionally get in their projects where it's like, I want to do this, but not many people want blue tiles in their bathrooms, right? Most people like more traditional, so you have to guide and set expectations with them as well. Let them know that, hey, the majority of listings that sold at this price per square foot look like this. This is what's really in style right now. If you're going to do this type of renovation for your apartment, you're going to limit the buyers that you're going to have. So you have to manage expectations and guide them through the process. Next one. I think we got into this, so let's go to the next. Okay, so rephrasing again, being a wizard in your market. The reason why I get buildings, the reason why I work with developers and I work with sales is because I'm a wizard in the market. When it comes to Brooklyn, I know all the buildings in the area. I know everything that's going on. I know the price per square foot. I know how to build buildings. I can guide them. And it's all about getting knowledge outside of real estate as well. Now, as real estate agents, we don't just have to have knowledge of being real estate agents and getting deals done. We have to also understand, hey, if you can know a little bit about Department of Finance and how separating tax lots works, that's awesome. If you know a little bit about new development and condo books, that's good. If you know exactly what a declaration is, that's good. Because if you can't have that knowledge, then you won't really connect to the developers. They need professionals that know a little bit beyond when it comes to the construction, when it comes to the guidance, because they know you can get a deal done. So it's not just knowing your comps, it's also knowing the building, knowing the market, and knowing the process of real estate, plural. And also, you want to save your clients time, right? So how many times have you guys took out clients to places where they're like, I don't like this. This is not what I want. And then you waste your time and then like, next agent, right? So it's like, save your clients time. Make sure you qualify them. Don't be scared to talk to them. Get all the information you can from them. Even the things that aren't that comfortable, try making it as comfortable as possible. And when it comes to financials in America, it's very tough to talk about. People are very kind of regarded when it comes to their financials. But you have to make it a free-flowing conversation. You have to guide them. You have to take it more in a business perspective rather than I'm judging you based on your financials, or you can't afford this and you can't get this. You have to be like, listen, it's amazing. It's amazing that you even have the opportunity to afford something that's $500,000, but $600,000 isn't going to do it right now. And it's incredible that you can get that. And let's find the best home that's worth $600,000 for $500,000. Now, you want to manage their expectations and go from there. My recommendation and my preference is to work with sellers. Just because when I have an exclusive, just like when you guys have exclusive deals, even in rentals or whatever it is, you represent it. So no matter what, you're getting the deal done. right? You're getting paid. And that's the best thing to have. In real estate, it's great to work with open listings and open clients, but at the end of the day, the real way to build money and a pipeline and brand yourself is work exclusively with people. If it's sellers or buyers and so forth, because no matter what, you can collect your commission. Now that means you have more pressure on you, because when you work exclusively with someone, guess what? You owe them your time, you owe them phone calls, you have to work sometimes at 2 in the morning, sometimes you get stressed and nervous. You have to be there and you can't get frustrated, because if you do that, then you'll end up leveraging yourself. Now, the more buildings that you have, the more that you can grow. And the more listings that you have and more exclusives, the more that you can grow. And also you can use that as a branding mechanism to actually get more deals on the outside. Let's talk about how to convert renters into buyers very briefly. And I want to tell you guys something, a funny story that this is actually super hilarious. I was representing this developer. I sold him a lot of he did a lot of new developments and he put renters inside of them and he didn't really manage it so amazing. And what ended up happening is he gave me a few listings and he's like, okay, take these listings with the renters. Other agents weren't able to sell them. And he's like, see what you can do. So number one thing, I became best friends with the tenants, bringing them flowers, giving them chocolate, talking with them, laughing with them, taking them out to coffee, just so they can feel free to give me access, especially a time where we're all wearing masks except me because I'm a psychopath. During COVID, you have to really kind of tread carefully. So it's like, okay, now I'm gonna get people inside the apartment. So I started doing 3D tours, and I got a few of these deals closed, right? I got 4 of his sales in. Great, he gave me another one. Now, this guy didn't really want to give access too much. I was trying to talk to him for a long time, Marley, and at a certain point, we ended up getting to a place where it's like, hey brother, you're living here for 2 years. You're making great money. We got on multiple phone calls. I'm like, have you ever thought about buying? And he's like, I don't know, I never even thought about it. I'm like, listen, you're paying someone else's mortgage off right now. This property has a tax abatement. Your monthlies aren't gonna be much higher. You're paying $2,000, your mortgage with your monthlies and common charges and everything is gonna be $2,400. For an extra $400, you're paying yourself and you're growing in an asset rather than paying someone else. So what ended up happening is, I'm like, yo, check this out. I'll send you a mortgage broker, go get approved, see if you can even get it. He got approved. The developer literally gave me the listing. I think within 24 hours, I got the renter in the apartment approved. I never took pictures, never did staging, never entered the apartment, never did anything. I got him approved, I got the offer in, I got him an attorney, and we already have contracts signed. So you can transition renters into buyers very easily just by guiding them. A lot of renters don't understand the process of buying. It's scary. Just like we don't understand the process of a lot of things. If I take one of you guys and put you in a finance firm, you're gonna feel like, yo, what's finance? How do I even do this? If I take you guys and I'm invest in stocks, you're gonna be like, how do I even invest in stocks? Now the thing is, a lot of us don't know a lot of things, right? And it gets scary, but if I teach you guys, and if you guys learn, then guess what? You guys will have the confidence to do it. So same thing with renters. If you teach them also the process, or just let them know in the back of their ear that when they're ready, that I'm there for you, then that can actually transition to a lot more business. A lot of renters are, let's say, 3 students, right? Or 3 roommates that work for the bank. They just got a job and each one of them are making $40,000, $50,000 a year. And they want a 3-bedroom together. Guess what? All 3 of them at a certain point are gonna make more money, are gonna want to either rent another apartment or they're gonna wanna start getting into sales. A lot of times in this business, we see a lot of renters that you work with, you never hear from them again. It's like you got the deal closed and it's gone. Who are you? Who are they? What's going on? And key to everything, when it comes to getting listings, and I didn't even put this on this slide, when it comes to getting listings, and when it comes to getting sellers, and when it comes to renters, and when it comes to everything, it's follow-up. And developers, you want to stay on their neck. You want to follow up consistently. You want to always be there on their phone. There's 2 projects that I just got exclusive agreements on that actually, I believe next week I'm going to do an open house for you guys if you guys want to just come in and see the projects. 2 of them are in Brooklyn. One is 13 units, one is 10 units. And the funny thing is, the developer listed, both developers listed it with different agents. I went into the pitch. I was one of their top 3 candidates for both of them, and both of them gave it to different agents. One of them called me too aggressive. The other one thought that all the social media and everything what I'm doing is crazy and stupid. And And the other one really wanted to work with a different agent who he kind of built a relationship with, but didn't know where. It was kind of like hit and miss with the listings. He was giving him, taking some away, giving him, taking some away, and he was working a little bit on a discounted deal. Now, I kept on following up. The thing is, they had a 6-month exclusive. I could have just waited 6 months, and after the exclusive is up, hey, you didn't sell anything, the exclusive is up, can I come represent your building? Can I sit down? Can we work on pricing, marketing, and everything? I chose the latter. I said, I'm not doing that. Every week, I was going to him, even with Cody, and even Brian was with me, and we were going and taking videos, sending it to him, telling him, hey, give this to your broker for free to use it for content, talking to him about the market, stepping into the office and just drinking a coffee with him. I was hanging out. I was there. I was like on his neck. And guess what? When the exclusive was about to expire, he's like, this guy hasn't sold anything. I have 10 units. I have 13 units on the market. These buildings aren't moving. Now, they have loans, these guys, and they also have investors. There's interest to be paid on that. Also, there's taxes. There's monthly costs. They need to get the product sold. So I sat with them. I managed their expectations, and I got them to a level where it's like, great. Let's do this. They ended up signing an exclusive, and right now we're working on the marketing. We worked with them on realistic pricing. We worked with them on a lot of things. For example, in one building there was high taxes. We're like, why don't we give a tax concession? And there's so much different outlets when you can get creative and have knowledge to actually work with that can leverage your business. And this is how I got those buildings as well. So you have to get creative in your field. You have to be on top of people. You have to be knowledgeable, and you have to just continue trying to expand yourself. You should never be sitting in the office doing nothing. You should always be doing research, always trying to meet other people. Go hang out with mortgage brokers. Go buy dinner for an attorney. Like, actually get to know people that might help you out in the future, and you can be in direct contact with them. And lastly, branding yourself. I think it's super important, especially in today's day and age. Obviously, we have videographers, we're doing YouTube, we're doing Instagram, we're doing a little bit of everything. It's like, you have to brand yourself. Because if not, then guess what? There's hundreds of thousands of us that are agents here, and it's like, in the end of the day, you're just another person in the pipeline, and nothing makes you special. Today, also something that I use is to reach millions of my followers by actually marketing and advertising to the outside. Anytime you close a deal, you want to put it up on Instagram. You want to show it on Facebook. You want to let people know, hey, I'm in real estate and I'm getting deals done. And if you need anything, I'm here for you for free. Just give me a call and I'll give you knowledge and advice. If you don't brand yourself, then what's going to end up happening, you're just another person in the game. You want to be something special in the game. You want to be different. And that's how you leverage your business. And I think the last one. By the way, everything you saw, like on the slides, the buildings, these are some of the buildings I sold this year.
Wow.
So just showing you guys. And then understand, you need to get the deal closed, because we don't get paid to put things in contract, and we don't get paid to get applications in. We get paid to close the deals. So it's going to be rocky. A lot of times in sales, the sales don't just close like this. It gets into a place where appraisers come into play, inspections, timelines, mortgage brokers, bankers. You have to make sure that you're guiding your clients and also keeping their emotions down. Because if not, you're not going to close the deal. There's so many cases where people put in contracts or applications and the deal just goes out the window. You got to make sure that you're focusing on how to close the deal. And then when you're getting the deal done, when you close the deal up, that's when you get paid. Other than that, we're going to go into some Q&As if you guys have questions. And on top of that, I'll tell you guys after the Q&As a little bit more about the buildings that we're going to have, the Williamsburg office, and everything that we have in the pipeline, and we can go from there. Yes?
How to approach somebody you want to get an exclusive from being a brand new agent? It's hard when you don't have lots of experience to tell them, hey, I've done so much, I can do so great on your property, but then you want the exclusive. So what would be your advice?
So you're asking, how can you get an exclusive when you don't have too much, I guess you can say...
I never closed on
Exactly, you don't have too much of repertoire. The thing is, I would say this, you can utilize people in the office that actually close deals, and you can also utilize people like Itai, or like the actual office people, and Maria, and so forth, to actually come with you on pitches. A lot of times in the beginning, it's hard for sellers, and it's hard for buyers to give you exclusive listings, just because it's like, what have you done? But it also works in the sense of like, if you're not gonna give me an opportunity, how am I ever gonna do anything to show you guys that like, I'm getting things done, right? So it's like, utilize people around you. Don't think about the commission. The second I stopped thinking about the commission or how much money I can make, and I never counted it, and I'm like, when I get paid, I get paid. The check comes in, great. The wire transfer comes in, I'm happy. Don't think about the commission. Think about how I can get more things done and how I can leverage myself and grow myself. So it's utilize experienced people around you and utilize the office and actually the team that you have to actually go pitch. And on top of that, you can show everything the office did, and it's kind of like a psychology game. You want to get them invested in you. If only the big agents got listings, and none of us got listings, then guess what? There'll be 5 agents in the entire city, and none of us would sell anything. The thing is, a lot of these big agents don't give the clients the emotional support, and they don't connect with these clients. They're in and out. They're too big. They don't care. The thing is, that's what you can offer them. Some people want you to hold their hand. Some people want you to talk to them. Some people want you to connect with them. And when you have that, and you have a hard work ethic, and you can leverage also the office you're in and the business and the people around you, you can actually get those listings.
So I technically offer the experience that office has, and then my energy and availability.
Correct. And then you can also utilize other agents to do like co-listings. You can list it with someone inside the office, work on the deal together, someone with more experience, and actually get your legs under yourself and start working a few sales.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
So I've never done sales. But I know like for rentals, we just go on GCP search, blah, 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 and we have our database. Where did you find your database for sales? Because you know, like for me, like it will be like, my friends will be like, oh, hey, I'm trying to like buy something. And I'll be like, yeah, it's perfect timing, but then I don't know.
So the funniest thing, we have access to the coolest things, which is like so simple. People complicate it. It's like, yo, just use Street Easy. You can run comps. You can see what's on the market. You can go to OLR. You can go to all these actual databases that we have the touch for it, like we have it. And you can actually see what's on the market. And then on top of that, this is where making relationship works. I have a lot of off-market buildings that are not ready yet to be put out on the market. And you might have a buyer that's like, yo, I want to buy in a year from now, but I'm trying to buy in a new development. And if you're having connections with people that are actually representing these deals, then guess what? They're like, you know what? I'm going to get you in before I put it on the market. So like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you put it on the market, you can bring your buyer. And if it's a great deal, your buyer can actually get it up. So use what you have. It's enough. Trust me. And on top of that, create connections to also see what's off the market.
And it's like, so like you can just like, because we preview apartments sometimes. And
Of course.
Like, they don't let us. Like you can just like go ask them, hey, I'm an agent, can I come take some videos?
You know what? It's funny you're saying that because my team, they're like, oh, I want to get some videos for like Instagram and TikTok and everything. And I'm like, great, of like these big apartments. Tell them, I have a buyer. He doesn't want to come in because of COVID. I want to get a video for him. I want to preview it, and I want to save him his time. If this is the apartment for him, I'm going to bring him in after I send him the video, or he's going to submit an offer. You just let them know. Or even if you want to come preview it, just tell them I want to come preview it. Why would agents ever not want, like I think about this in this manner, why would I not want you to come in and take video of my apartment that I'm trying to sell, that I have a 6-month exclusive on, and market it yourself or send it to your buyers? Like, I want to get as much people in the door. A, I can show the developers that I'm getting more people in the door. B, I can also get free marketing from you. And C, you might have a buyer that will actually buy it. So why would I ever deny it? And whoever does deny it, just next. Yeah, next.
Right? A couple of common mistakes that you did and that you wish you have never done that. Because you want to save this time and basically instead of this 12 years.
Yeah, great question. Great question.
Second question, the technical one. So you negotiate with the seller wants $3 million because with a brand new department, emotional attached to the place, whatever. The place goes for $2.5 million. How would you negotiate the price if you want to get this listing?
Okay, so let's go into 2 phases. I like to play the middleman when I'm negotiating. obviously I'm representing my seller, but a lot of times I ask these sellers to actually sign off on dual agency because I'm like, you guys are smart enough to actually get the deals done. Let me be the middleman that is trying to kind of finesse this deal together. For example, we were at a building yesterday, Cody and I, my videographer over here, and the clients didn't want to buy this actual apartment. It wasn't the size they wanted. The bedroom count was too much. They'd rather have a bigger living room. They didn't like the finishes of the actual kitchen, and they didn't like the tiles in the basement. So what did I do? I went to the developer. I'm like, how much money do you want? He told me the price. I'm like, great. I go to the buyers. I'm like, this is a new development. Everything is possible. What do you want to change? If I take down this wall for you, and if I get you a new kitchen, and if I give you a budget to get tiles for downstairs, is that going to be good? Yeah. Okay. I'm like, great. You have $50,000 budget with the contractor that we can do it. I need this price. Great. So an apartment that wasn't for them ended up being for them, and we're actually renovating it right now, and they're so happy. They're eager to close. So I guess what you can say is you got to be like the middleman. You got to let them know, the seller, that, listen, this is, if you only got one offer in a couple of months, listen, we haven't gotten offers before. We've been marketing it everywhere. Let's actually go to realization mode. Let's look at the comps. Let's see what the market is telling us. Also get feedback, which is amazing. A lot of times sellers, when you're representing any type of sale, they sometimes think you're not working hard enough, even though you're doing open houses and you're doing everything. A trick that I have, that I teach all my agents as well, is every open house, you have a sign-in sheet and you get feedback from all the clients. So you write down the name, you write down a little bit of feedback, you do a follow-up the next day, and then what you do, you send a detailed report to your seller. So it's like, I was at the open house yesterday, ABCD came by, this one hates the kitchen, this one loves the unit, this one is thinking about it, this one needs to move in 3 months, and this is only available in 6 months. So it's like, show them that you're actually out there. You'd rather give negative feedback than no feedback, because giving feedback shows that you're working. And the more that you give, it can also already set expectations for the seller to understand, maybe we need to do a price drop, or maybe I need to be more lenient in negotiations if I want to get this deal done. And then mistakes. I made so much mistakes. I still make mistakes all the time. I'm a big mistake myself. Now, a big mistake that I made was getting very complacent. The second you find out how to hold, remember this. I realized this when I started working for someone. I was working for a developer, and he was paying me a good salary, but like it was very decent compared to like what you can make in real estate. And I was working 18 hours a day. I was literally working 18 hours a day, around the clock, non-stop. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, and I was hungry. I was like, I'm gonna get this. I'm killing it. I'm working. I got the energy. I'm like, let's do it. And then one day I realized, I'm like, wow, I was an agent for so long, and I never worked this hard. And when you're an agent, guess what, guys? You're an independent contractor. Great, you work for a brokerage, but your business is your business. You're not getting paid salary. It's your own business. And I never looked at it as my own business. I always looked at it as, I'm working for the office, or I'm working for this, or I'm working for someone, and I'm just not making money. And the second I realized that, this is my fucking business. This is what I need to do to succeed. This is what I need to do to get ahead. And if I'm working this hard for someone else's business to get a salary, I better work 10 times as harder in my business. The second I started learning that, and actually reading books, doing research, going out and meeting people, putting myself in uncomfortable situations to get different results, because you can't get different results unless you do something differently in life, right? And the second I started doing that, that's when I started actually propelling myself. So one thing I say is hold yourself accountable, be on top of yourselves, love yourselves, but also be the boss of yourself. You have to put yourself in the place. If you don't do something right, I'm not going out this weekend. I'm not having a drink. I'm not doing this. Ground yourself. Literally be your parent. When you can do that, you end up setting yourself up for a lot more success. Yes?
You mentioned that you love being the agent for the seller, of course, and you get exclusives, and that's probably the best path. But I have a question. If you have like strategy to get buyers, if there anything that you can do, let's say if you don't have exclusives yet,
yes,
is it easier to get buyers?
100%, 100%.
How?
So, best way to get buyers, and how I got in buyers over time, is literally, okay, guys, look around the room. We're all real estate agents, but we're all in real estate as well, right? You maybe bought your home. You maybe rented your home. You may live with your parents and they own a home. You may have grandparents that want to buy a home. We are all in real estate. We need a place to live. There's buyers everywhere. The way I got my buyers is literally using social media and also going out and about and talking to people. I would go out. I would be like, oh, okay, what are you doing? What are you looking to do? Oh, are you thinking of buying in the future? Oh, I do real estate. And just having meaningful, chill conversation with people where it's like, I'm actually thinking of buying next year. I'm actually thinking of doing this. And that's a big way that I got buyers that actually transition into a lot of closing. Another way to get buyers that is a lot harder to close is also cold calling. You can cold call, but in the end of the day, everything that you're doing is the same. Cold calling, walking the street, going to a bar, meeting your friend's friend, or meeting a referral for your client. It's meeting people. You have to put yourself out there to people. The more people that you're out there for, and the more people that you're with and talking to about actual real estate, the more clients you will get. And that's how I utilize my business.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, come to you next. Go.
Like how you explain a little bit how you were able to get an exclusive that was already somebody's exclusive, right?
Correct.
Like, can you explain a little more about that?
Yeah, 100%. I saw this developer that's building a building. I wanted to actually represent him in the building of the building, the selling of the building. Apologize, I'm not from here. And then I ended up reaching out to him, and he was interviewing multiple brokers. And I was one of them that actually got the meeting. And when he was interviewing me, he was like, oh, that's good and all. And then he ended up going with a different agent. So I already had his number, I had his information, I had everything. Now, I was seeing what the agent was doing. I was pricing it a lot lower. When I was giving him the BPO and the pricing for the building, I gave it to him, I think it was $8 million. I gave it to him for $7.2 million. And he's like, what? This guy's giving me $800,000 more for the building. And I'm like, no, it's not worth $800,000 more. I broke it down unit by unit, price per square foot, marketing comps. So the guy ended up putting it on the market. Barely any leads. Barely any traction coming in. So I just kept on following up. I did a few videos for him. I went there, I tried bringing buyers from my other listings and so forth. And I just tried staying on top of it, even hanging out and talking to him. I went to get a coffee and just talked to him about real estate or the market or his family or what I'm doing this weekend and so forth. I became friendly with him. And then at a certain point, I realized that, okay, the exclusive is coming up and I would always keep track of the building. So the building isn't selling. And then I'm like, hey, the exclusive is up in a month. Nothing has sold. What's been the issues? What's been the problem? And I was giving him advice on how to guide him through the problems. And I was also giving free advice to the broker of maybe he can do this and maybe he can utilize that and maybe he can lower the price to this or offer the clients this type of incentive just to build a relationship. Show him, like, the honest truth is if the other broker sold it, great. But if he sold it because based on my knowledge, maybe the next building will be mine. That was my outlook on it. Right? So maybe not this building, but maybe the next building he'll have trust in actually listing it with me. Now what ended up happening is the broker didn't sell it, and I ended up getting the exclusive signed by him. He's like, I have trust in you. He was very emotional already because 6 months on the market, it kind of kills the building a little bit too. So you have to rebrand it, revamp it. And I gave him a strategy and a creative, unique way of how I see to price it, to market it, to put it out to people, and also put it out to other people's eyes, right? Branding it, the building, and showing that it's an amazing property, just people haven't really saw it. And that's kind of how I got the exclusive on that building. Yeah. And then...
Yes, so similar to you, I've been a couple of years in the business, and I started working with one developer just when I started working with GCB, and he got rid of the other broker and his rental the property, and he called me one day and said, I'm building a building, go see it. He already had built in it for a long time, so he had another broker, and he said, bring me a buyer. Now I'm getting closer with him, and with his property manager, I'm hanging out all the time, like on the phone every day almost. How do you go with their relationship to the
next level?
Yeah, what do you do?
Right, you're playing footsie with him. You want to actually close it.
With your first developer, when I don't have, he has more knowledge than me. Like I'm calling him for questions sometimes.
Yeah, it's good that you're doing that, and it's also what I would do, I would kind of show off just a little bit. If you're closing all the deals in the area, I would show off. I'd be like, oh, I just got this done, just got that done. You know what I mean? Just a little bit, subtle. Be very nonchalant about it. It's just like kind of showing off like you're getting things done. Now he knows you're a closer on top of that. And in the process of that, also offer him knowledge. Get closer with him. Give him advice maybe for the marketing, for the layouts, for the design. Get emotionally invested in the property with him. And then tell him, listen, give it to the other agent. If the other agent doesn't execute, I can possibly help him out as well. I don't even need to get paid. Or in the future, if you want to work with me, I would love to work with you. But always put it out there that, hey, I want to work for you. I'm going to sell for you one day. And if he's like, bring buyers, be like, hey, great. If I have buyers around the area, I'll bring them. But the honest truth is, without the right marketing, I'm also missing probably 95% of the buyers on the market that I can actually get. I have different ways of marketing this unit to actually get it to more eyes out there than possibly a lot of agents can in this market. So what I would say is, hey, I'll bring buyers by, no problem. Hey, by the way, look at these deals I closed. Oh, maybe if you design like this or that. Oh, maybe if you market it like this. Get close to him, get emotionally attached to him, and then possibly in the future, he'll give you a building. I've been playing footsies with some developers for like 6 to 8 years.
So
Haven't got nothing.
So I already got him a buyer. Unfortunately, we're working on the mortgage and stuff like that. But I feel I don't have the knowledge. How do I get the knowledge for sales and for developers? He's making another building.
So this obviously doing seminars is amazing. Also, anytime I want knowledge, YouTube, books, whatever it is, paying for mentorships, actually investing into yourself. Listen, a lot of us, Bloomingdale's or Saks will have a sale, 70% off. A lot of us will run to there, buy suits, buy pants, buy a nice dress, buy shoes, the Louboutins, 20%, 30% off, right? The problem is we're willing to invest into depreciating assets and we're not willing to invest into ourselves and business. So when it comes to spending $2,000 a dress compared to spending $1,000 on a mentorship or on a course, it's completely different, right? So it's like you want to get something that you don't have, you have to put it out there. You have to do your research, you have to do your knowledge, invest into your knowledge as well, because sometimes you need that proper mentorship and guidance. On top of that, regardless if the deal closes or not, the fact that you brought him a buyer is already saying a lot. It already shows him, hey, this guy is grinding more than my agent. Literally, he's not even marketing it, and he's getting a buyer. So you could tell him, listen, this is nothing. Let me put this on the market. Let me advertise it. Let me show you how many more I can get. This is just me trying a little bit. This is my 5%. When I have the full rights to actually push this, I can get 10 of these, right? So it's like also guiding him, teaching him, and trust me, it goes for a long way. And just try gaining as much knowledge as you can.
So I would have now another question. Where do you get mentors? I feel like that's missing in my life.
Everywhere, man. There's so incredible people. So for example, I have a mentorship program that I offer to people, that I do one-on-one mentorships. Once I take only a few students at a time because I can't manage too much. I do mentors. There's a lot of people out there, and there's also a lot of programs for mentorships. Go on YouTube, find great YouTubers that actually being so successful. You have like Chris Crone, Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, people that are all in the real estate business in different perspectives. You have so much books that you can actually buy, right? Gary Keller has amazing books as well. It's like, try getting all of that. And on top of that, any questions that you have, type it out on Google. Go to Itai, go to Maria. Actually sit down, maybe sit down with a few individuals, put down questions on a paper, and make it a task. Hey, we have 5 questions that we want to know the answer to, that we have no idea about in the process of the sale or in this specific part. It's like our task is to get the answers by the end of the week. So you guys go out, talk to all the developers you know, all the brokers you know, everyone you know, and try getting answers, and then you narrow it down. Guess what? Next week, you're smarter than you are this week, and it gives you an advantage.
My question is the process same to work with international buyers and locals? And if it is based on your experience, who do you prefer working with? Which is easier for you?
Very, very interesting question. It can get very complex. I'll tell you why. International buyers, if they want to get a mortgage, that's very different. If they're all cash, then that's very different. So it really has to do with where they are. I prefer to work more with either local developers or people that have all cash or local buyers. Because international buyers that want to get mortgages here and financing, it's going to be a very tough process. So, but it doesn't mean you can't get a deal done. It just means you have to educate them on how you can get the deal done. So you got to find out exactly what they are, what they have, and how they want to get the deal done, and then kind of give them a realization of what needs to get done.
Thank you.
Of course.
You mentioned that you prefer dual agency relationship with seller and buyer. I know some brokers say always go for like seller's agent. Why would you choose dual agency?
Because I work a lot in new development, and the developers are very smart people. They're not going to make a decision they don't want to make, right? You can guide them and speak with them and guide them on the prices, but in the end of the day, if he's not happy with the price, he's not going to accept the deal. So I'll tell you this, any deal that gets done, you have to have two agreeing parties to it. So it's like, even if he's like, oh, this is too low, and he ends up taking it, it means he took it for a reason, because he wants to get the deal done. Now, the thing about dual agency, I just like going between the buyer and the seller and kind of showing them I have the best interest for both of them, and I just want to get it done. I want to show them that there can be a fair deal to be done. So with that, that's why I prefer that personally.
So your developers are okay with you also representing?
Completely, because they're very headstrong, they're very smart, they're very intellectual. Sellers, a lot of times, rather not have dual agencies. If it's just someone that wants to resell, especially if they're emotional, which is completely fine. You just have to go about it in a different manner. It's like, I'm here for you, and I'm fighting for you. And I don't care about anyone else. I'm just trying to get you the number one price. I'll negotiate for you, I'll market for you, and I'm here for you. I'll hold your hand. So it really depends who you're working with and how you can get through.
Would you give them an option?
Of course, I will give them an when I'm going through them on the exclusive agreement and we're signing disclosures, I would tell them, listen, I would explain to them both sides to it. And just like I would tell them a way to possibly get them to agree to it, I would tell them, just like you're emotional and you're scared and you want me to hold your hand, sometimes buyers will come in and they're scared and emotional and they'll think I'm attacking them. So in the end of the day, I want to hold their hand too. And if you allow me, I'll hold their hand and we can possibly close more deals with uneducated buyers that are emotional. So I would just use the psychology game. There's an answer for everything.
That's very smart.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
You mentioned that you also like couple brokers with the financial brokers, kind of brokers, right?
Mortgage brokers, yes.
So how you do that? You just go any bank, or you know like specific mortgage brokers?
So many ways. One way to do it is literally you can reach out to me and be like, yo, David, who have you closed deals with? And oh, here's a few mortgage brokers. And you can just reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm introducing myself. I might have some buyers or I have a building. On top of that, when you get into new development, sometimes you want to put in preferred lenders. Preferred lender is putting a lender on the building. And this is also a hack on how to save money in marketing. Sometimes they can pay for your open houses. Sometimes they can pay for your brokers open and they can get you food and everything else. And then every client that comes in, you recommend them to that mortgage broker, right? So they have incentive inside your building. And a way to get it is literally you can call banks up, or the best way to do it, even better than that, is reach out to Itai, reach out to me, reach out to other agents that are closing deals and ask them who they close deals with and what banks. And actually get their information, start talking to a few of them, see who you connect with the most, and get like 3 or 4 of them that you can recommend your client. Some of them are able to get your client, listen, if your client doesn't get approved with one mortgage broker or gets approved for $500,000 with one, a different one can approve them for $550,000 or can actually disapprove them. Right? So that's the thing. That's why you want to have a few of them, because it's not over just by the mortgage broker, I guess you can say, disapproving them or qualifying them for a certain budget.
Same with lawyers?
Same with lawyers. Reach out to individuals. Yeah. And everyone can get you real estate attorneys. Yes. There's many of them. And your local agents, you know what? Even if you have a buyer that you're representing and you're taking them to someone else's exclusive, and let's say Brian has their exclusive, and I'm taking my buyer to Brian's exclusive, I'm like, hey, I have my first time client. I don't know any good attorneys to close this deal. What should I do? And I'm like, do you have any attorneys? Guess what? He does, because his seller has an attorney, and he probably closed a few deals, and he has a few other attorneys he worked with. He's like, hey, try any of these 3. And then your client and you get on a call with these attorneys, see who fits the most, what their pricing is, and then you just choose one and go from there.
You choose a price.
The client chooses. You want the client to choose.
Very good. So thank you so much, David, for being here.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars, I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they